Tutorial number 2 is the first of 3 setup tutorials. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to set up your version of MusicWorx to work specifically with your own studio's needs and parameters. We're going to start with a dashboard, and we're going to click on the settings button, and there are 3 areas that we're going to set up first. Click on settings, and the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to put all of this information in here. This is important because when you get to the mileage records section and you start making routes, there's a button on that layout that will, when you click it, will automatically enter your home address so that you don't have to re-enter that over and over and over if that's the one that you enter the most. Okay, here is where you determine what day of the month that you're going to send out invoices, and you can't see it, but it does go all the way down to 31. That day of the month is when you're going to send out invoices. A lot of people do it at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. If you do it at the end of the month, just want to leave that blank. Now, this is very important here. Most private lesson teachers bill their students by the month according to how many lessons they have. If a student takes 5 lessons during a month and pays $20 a lesson, he'll be billed for $100. There are situations, such as in the Suzuki world, the world of piano instruction and vocal instruction, where the instructors will use a semester tuition scenario, similar to college and university students. And what they'll do is they'll take the price of the semester of lessons and divide it by the number of months, and that will determine what they pay a month. If you teach and if you bill your students by the lesson, like I first described, you want to leave that unchecked, okay? If you bill your students by the month according to the number of lessons. But if you bill your students both ways, perhaps you have a home studio that goes by the semester tuition scenario, and you teach on campus and you bill your students by the month. If you do both, you do want to check that and leave it there, okay? These are the templates. We're going to go over those later. This is a template for being able to upload your students in large groups rather than entering their names one by one. These are the class names of when you go to visit a school. You may have 2 lessons during their symphonic band class or 2 lessons during their symphonic orchestra, or you may be teaching violin lessons during a beginner violin class. You'll want to know the name of the class, and it'll be helpful. Not absolutely mandatory. This is certainly one of those optional situations, but it is certainly helpful to have that information in there. This is a place that you can put a logo. The MusicWorx logo is going to be on every layout, but you can also grab, and I'm just going to grab another logo over here, and you just drag and drop. If you have an image that you want on your reports that we'll go over later, you can just drag and drop that in there, and whatever image or logo you have will appear on those reports. If you don't want it in there, you can just delete it, and I'll put that in there so when we get to reports you can see it. Okay, the next thing, we're getting to the simpler parts here. This is your calendar settings. Most people want their calendar week to start either on Sunday or Monday. I have mine starting on Monday. I want my calendar divided into 15-minute segments each day. So I have that set up there. And the earliest that I want to start any of my lessons on any day is at 8:15 a.m. And I will never start a lesson after 8:30. So those are parameters. No lesson can start before 8:15. No lesson can start after 8:30. You can change it if you want. If you want to make this 8 o'clock, or if you get to school early and you want to make this 7 a.m., you can do that, and that will show on every day of your calendar. Communication. This is also really important because this goes over texting and email. This amount of information here, this little corner deals specifically with your email, and I use my personal email, and these are the codes that I put in. This is my Gmail password, and you'll want to check with your email provider and know exactly what to put in there. Usually you can find that on Google, and it's not a problem. This is really neat. Twilio is a third-party plugin that will allow you to send text messages. There's two ways to send text messages. Twilio is incredibly cheap. Here's some information here. You can click on these links, but you can send text messages for a ridiculous cost, and they charge you $1 a month. They give you a separate telephone number so that you don't have to use your own telephone number. That's my number right there. And they'll give you two codes. Now, this isn't my full code because I don't want to display my full code in public, but they'll give you an account ID code and a Twilio token to go in these two blanks and then that number. Again, it costs $1 a month, plus each text message in or out costs 0.0027 cents. That means that 27 let's make it this way, 270 text messages will cost you 27 cents. It's pretty amazing. So $20 will last for months. The second way of doing emails, text messages, is using your student's provider. And you can send this through the email with, there's instructions right here on how to do it. But it'll go out as an email, but they'll receive it as a text. The only issue with this is that it makes you have to know each of your students' email provider so that they can receive the text. And if they change it, you have to make sure that you get that. So that is it for this, and we're going to move on to tutorial number 3.